Welcome to this short course, Productivity for Future Nurse Practitioners. My name is Miriam. I'm a nurse practitioner. I teach students, do review courses for NP graduates to pass their board exams. So I've noticed something about some of the students that I meet, because I also coach some students. And it's about studying, being productive, trying to have time where they are able to study and still have a life and still be able to pass nurse practitioner school. So sometimes one of the things that I noticed is that, students studying all the time, but when you are studying hours on end, are you retaining anything? This is intended again for students, that are in NP school, that are still studying for, the NP program, or have graduated and studying for their NP board exam. And they are working and they have other responsibilities, because we're focusing on real life productivity, not ideal, but perfect condition. You need to be in control of your study, your study time, your routine. So not feeling overwhelmed and not guessing what to do next, not jumping from one resource to another, but having a clear, simple system that help you to retain information. If not, it's not easy. You have to be pulled from different to different sides, sections in life. You have to go to school. Sometimes you're in your clinicals, and then you are working, and then the family responsibilities. So what you will gain, this course is that we have a clear study strategy, better retention, consistent routine, and reduce being or feeling overwhelmed. So that's what we're going to talk about. You want to plan so that you'll be able to study effectively and not just studying all the time. So lesson one, let's compare being busy versus productive. So one of the biggest mistakes NP students make is that, oh, being busy all the time. I'm reading. Okay, you can spend 5 to 6 hours reading, but are you being productive? How is that time spent? Are you just rereading something, highlighting, or just passively watching videos? So you may feel busy, but you are not training your brain to think like the exam. And that's what really matters, right? So how about fake studying trap? Let's talk about fake studying trap. I mean that in a good way. So you are reading the notes, you are highlighting the whole pages, you are watching videos without engaging, right? These activities feel safe now, but are they being productive, So they are not challenging your brain. The brain is not being challenged, it's not learning. So if the brain is not being challenged, it is you are not learning much. So we're going to shift from passive learning to active learning. Retention strategies. So instead of asking, did I read this? You can go ahead and say, can I recall this? That's active recall, right? And even more importantly, pattern recognition. The pattern recognition is how the exam test students, the board exam especially. What that means is that they just don't test on facts. They test on how you use your clinical pattern recognition to answer questions. The tests show you how to recognize the patterns in clinical scenarios. They test how you can recognize that. That's the difference between struggling and passing your NP board exam confidently. So let's talk about something very important, your study schedule. Your study schedule has to be realistic. That's why when you are busy with your job, you are going to school, and then you have to study, of course, the family responsibilities too. You have to plan so that you are studying in short, focused sessions, because you might not have 3 hours to sit here in a row and read. You might not have 4 hours to sit there in a row and read, but you might have 30 minutes here and 30 minutes there. So you want to use that because consistency beats intensity every time, right? The next topic is study when you are tired. Of course, you've already spoken so much about that. So instead of skipping studying completely, even when you are tired, when you are exhausted, okay, let me just, do these 10 questions here, practice questions here. And then let me read all the rationales of the correct answers. Let me also read the rationales of the wrong answers, what the other answers were not right. Okay. And then my 30 minutes shortest focus study time. Am I writing down what I've just read? Because the way you do that is that, let's say you read, a whole chapter in endocrine or something like that, or you read some topics in endocrine. After you read about kidney failure, maybe you write down the strategies, the guidelines. What does the guidelines say about that topic? How about CHF, congestive heart failure? You write down about it on your own because you already read the topic. So now it's to summarize in your own words the way you understand the topic. Because the highlighting of the whole book, the watching the videos over and over, that is passive learning. That's passive studying. So you don't want to be a passive studying student, right? You want to be an active studying student. So you make sure even when you are busy, remember consistency is what brings you to the level where you want to be. The next lesson is to talk about avoiding burnout. If you are a nurse already, I'm sure that's before you are going to nurse practitioner school. So when you are a nurse practitioner student, you know very well what a burnout has been about, right? Sometimes, and it's very rare, sometimes you are experiencing some of these signs, you are tired all the time. You are stressed all the time. You are angry all the time. You are feeling overwhelmed all the time. Those are signs that, yeah, you need to take a step back and kind of relax, a little bit. Because overworking yourself is not going to get you anywhere. It's going to even interfere with your concentration, right? They're always saying that you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you always remember that you cannot pour from an empty cup. Also, self-care is not selfishness at all. You want to relax, rest too, so that your brain can be able to retain the information. Because when you are, let's say you finish MP school and you are studying for your MP board exam, the stress is real. It's intense. Everybody's counting on you. Maybe you have a job lined up already, right? So you really need to pass this exam or else. So the stress is real. But at the same time, I see students studying for hours and hours, and then you get to the exam hall and then you are confused. So it's important to stay focused and have short focus times of study and watch out when you are experiencing burnout. So a consistency system. So here is a top 3 method that I talk about. Each day you ask yourself, what are the 3 most important things I need to study today? Okay, not 10 things, not 20, not everything, just the 3 top most important things that you can study today. So this keeps you focused, reduces feeling overwhelmed, and helps you build consistency. Now I want you to actually apply what you have learned today. So your task is to choose your top 3 study priorities for tomorrow and to share so that you can share with the group. Stay focused, time block, and identify one distraction to reduce that. This is where learning becomes action. So again, you want to succeed. You don't want to spend all that money and time, and then you get to the final stage on your MPA board exam, and then you are feeling overwhelmed, or you are failing and you are not having the confidence to continue, because you can do it. Anybody else have done it too. So just know that, yes, as a FNP student, most of us have been there where you are. The goal is the consistency, planning. You can't just do this today, do that tomorrow. You have to be consistent with what you're doing. So I want to leave you with this. You don't need more time. You don't need more resources. You don't need more time wasting. You just need a better system. Okay? So remember, progress is happening even when you don't feel it. It may be slow, but you're going to get there. So have a good day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.